All right, so I just got done watching the face-off, the face-to-face of Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. Now, I, wa- I wasn't going to be expecting, anything major with this. I wasn't expecting massive drama. I wasn't expecting tables, glasses getting thrown, Chisora White, a la that. I wasn't expecting any of that. I was just interested to see how both guys addressed this, what both guys were saying. Joshua immediately opened with saying, originally going into this, he thought it was a gimmick fight. And in many ways, it is kind of that. Although I think there is an element of seriousness to this one, because having seen how Ngannou was against Fury, a lot more people are looking at this fight now and thinking, okay, he gave a good account of himself. And I know Ade made the point in the video that basically in defeat, no one talks about it. Ngannou almost won. Although he didn't beat Tyson Fury in defeat, it's like a win because it shot his name into another level. Losing. So, he was kind of saying that, has he got anything to lose? And in many ways, Ngannou doesn't. Very respectful from both guys. Ngannou, his English is not incredible, to say the least. He gets by. And this is what I'm going to say about Ngannou. I felt that throughout this whole face-off, for me, and this again, just from the outside looking in, he was extremely confident. Just the look in his eyes, the demeanour, everything, he was extremely confident. However, I also think Joshua was too. Now, we got to remember, I believe this was filmed just before, and I think it was just before they had their press conference. Now, that was the middle or the end of Jan, thereabouts. So I think it was just the end of Jan. So wasn't that long ago, but it was before Fury Usyk got pushed back. So with Joshua, he's talking about title stuff like that, and he says, well, this is his step on the road to become a champion, because obviously at the time when this fight was announced and they did the press conference, as I said, Fury Usyk was still all guns blazing for Feb 17th. And Turki Al Sheikh was saying that the winner of Fury Usyk would then go on to fight the winner of Joshua Ngannou. So I think in this face-off, both guys had that fully in mind. Things have changed. This fight is going on before Fury Usyk now. Obviously, Fury Usyk we're waiting until May. So could it mean that the winner still gets a title shot? It probably does. But against Fury Usyk, probably not. They'll probably fight for a vacant title, if even. Overall, it was interesting. I have to say I found the Fury Usyk one more enjoyable, more just intriguing. It was a really, really good watch, that one. And again, that was a kind of a cut down version. Will they do a new one? Will they do the full one? I don't know. I think BT have already released the face off now anyway, but I found that one more intriguing. This was still good though. Ngannou basically saying that, this fight is different, bringing up the styles make fights, I like that. Saying that in his mind he would have perceived the Fury fight to be harder, but he said that Joshua, different styles make fights. And also Ade brought up the fact that he mentioned that if he hit Joshua with the same shot that he dropped Fury with, in his opinion, Joshua doesn't get up. And I do have to laugh because Joshua, he's not pulling no punch. I like it. I like what I have to say now. In terms of the face-offs I've seen from Joshua, this one I liked. I thought he definitely did a very good job and he looked confident. I've seen some people say that he looked rattled. I did not remotely see that from Joshua. And when Francis Ngannou brought that up and he said the shot I dropped Fury with as Joshua, I had to laugh and he goes, look, who hasn't dropped Fury? So I did have to giggle a bit when I heard that. I was like, well, he's got a bit of a point there, and look, Joshua did mention the fact that, look, yeah, I've been stopped, but I've never been, like Amir Khan getting up, gangly legs, anything like that, which is true. Yeah, Joshua has been stopped in his career, but he's not been, like Amir Khan when he fought Danny Garcia, not barely able to stand. So Joshua, he done well in this now, I have to say, he did. And Ngannou mentioned the fact that, he is still a novice boxer, and, that boxing was always his main love. When he came to Europe, he just wasn't able to pursue boxing. Ultimately, his path led to MMA, and now he's trying to make something of boxing. But as he said, he's 37 years old. He's not young, and the way he's doing it is that he's fighting, in his opinion, in back-to-back fights, two of the three best heavyweights of this era: Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. Alexander Usyk being the one that, never know, may very well see that fight. Who knows? Joshua, it was also mentioned the fact that all this, the Ngannou face-to-face, everything, this was all meant to be Deontay Wilder. But ultimately Deontay Wilder lost and they got this fight going. And, as Joshua said at the start, originally, before this fight was even announced, there was talk of him and Ngannou, saw it as a gimmick fight. He doesn't see it as that now. People are saying that they think this fight's going to be competitive, and look, it may very well be. But me personally, from the outside looking in, I'm making Joshua favourite. And I think the majority are making Joshua favourite. I think that Joshua, I've said this once, I'll say it again, he will have the fight that Tyson Fury should have had. It was interesting when Ade asked Joshua, do you think you'll stop him? Because he really did think for a very, very long time and said, I don't know. Is he envisioning Francis Ngannou having an iron chin? Does he think that Ngannou is going to be strong? Does he think he's going to have to be cautious in there? Because I would have thought with Joshua, a question like that, do you think he can stop him? It would have been a resounding yes. Wasn't with that. He did take a long time to answer that question, and I looked at that and I was like, okay, does Joshua really see a major threat there with Ngannou? Because with Fury going into that fight, a lot of us didn't. I didn't. The majority didn't. I struggled. I racked my brain trying to think of how Francis Ngannou would win the fight. I really did. And obviously he didn't take him that serious because he didn't come in particularly good shape. I know he wasn't much heavier than he normally is, but aesthetically he didn't look good. He looked tired, he looked fatigued, didn't look himself at all in there. Not to take anything away from Ngannou. Joshua, on the other hand, I reckon, well, he is a consummate professional. I've never seen him out of shape. I reckon he is going to be taking this serious. But he's obviously looking at Ngannou with an ounce of, what would you, an ounce of caution. He's not just looking and thinking, I'm going to blow this guy out of the water. You can tell that by the way he was speaking. He had respect for Ngannou. He wasn't, lacking confidence. I certainly didn't see that. But he definitely, from what I gathered there, realises that, okay, I need to be on my game with this guy because it's the unknown. I spoke about, in the run-up to the Fury-Usyk fight, with the run-up to the Fury-Ngannou fight, about the unknown of Ngannou. And although we've seen him over the course of 10 rounds with Fury, he is still a bit of an unknown commodity in the grand scheme of things. I mean, 10 rounds is hardly going to tell us. I mean, at the end of the day, when you see a prospect turnover, I know it's a bit different. When you see a prospect turnover, you're waiting fight after fight after fight to really kind of get a gauge and see what you're dealing with. Because some of them would be schooled in the amateurs and stuff like that, but you really want to see certain things. With Ngannou, you're dealing with someone again who, yes, he has done boxing at a low level years ago, and then primarily was mixed martial artist. But under boxing now, you're kind of looking and thinking, okay, in those 10 rounds, he showed a few things, but we're still a lot there that we haven't seen. He's unpredictable. And I spoke in the run-up to the Fury-Ngannou fight saying that if you take, for example, a snooker player, right, and I spoke about this because this happened, and they play a guy like myself who can play pool but doesn't take it too serious and is a bit of a hit and a hoper. That offsets them so much because they can't focus on where the ball is, where the ball's going to land, what they're going to do, how to set the shot. They can't do it, and then they make mistakes. And I said something like that might happen with Fury and Ngannou in a sense of you're used to, even if it's a different style, you're used to a fighter doing X, Y, and Z, and this guy is doing A, B, C, D, and you're like, what the hell are you doing? And it's kind of taken me out of my game. And maybe just something like that. Maybe Joshua was even worried about that. That like, yeah, although I've seen him over the course of 10 rounds, how do I know I've seen all Ngannou has to give? So there is a bit of intrigue. As I said, I enjoyed the face-off. I did. I preferred the Fury-Usyk one, just truth be told, I did. But this was pretty good. This one was pretty good. I think both guys have a lot of confidence. Ngannou was saying that, 10 rounds, he wanted 10 rounds, that he's still kind of new to the game and didn't want 12 rounds. And it's weird because if you set a high pace in basically less rounds, it's interesting because I tell you why. Here's a good example, right? Adam Boot as a trainer, all right? Now, Adam Boot as a trainer, he needs a certain style to teach. He needs fighters to have certain attributes. Otherwise, you're kind of, you're swimming upstream with him, quite frankly. If you don't have good athleticism, long arms, and punching power, all three of those, you're kind of goosed. You really are, right? But Adam Boot is very good at managing fighters, and he's very good from a psychological point of view on fighters. And here's something that you may not know, but if you go and check this, we obviously know he turned George Groves over pro. I think there's still a bit of beef there. I think there is anyway. But when he turned George Groves over, all right, when a prospect is coming up, you often see them in 4-rounders. Now, 4-rounders are sprints, but there's risk there. You get dropped in the first round, a flash knockdown. It's a 10-8 round. You are clinging on by a thread to win because you're down 2 points. There's only 3 points remaining. You lose another round, 10-9. What do? You're really in trouble. So 4-rounders can be the less rounds. Someone sets a high pace, you lose a round or two and you're fighting for a draw. You've seen that. What did Adam Boot never do to George Groves? Never put him in a 4-rounder. Started him in 6-rounders. Because he knew someone, maybe like George Groves, who could be a bit of a slow starter, journeyman comes in, throws loads of punches in the first 2-3 rounds. George Groves gets into his stride in the 4th round. Oh yeah, fight's over, see ya. What? Fight's over, yeah. Scorecards, 38-39, L. There you go. So less rounds means that if someone who maybe isn't as skilled just sets a high pace, sets a high tempo, they can do something. And more rounds, more jeopardy. Joshua has got round knockouts late. 10th round, 11th round. He hasn't got a 12th round knockout, but he's been the distance several times. So that's what Ngannou was thinking. And again, I don't believe there's a title on the line. So technically speaking, it doesn't need to be a 12-rounder if it's a non-title fight. You do see non-title fights 12-rounders, but for the most part, they are 10 rounds. And when's the last time Joshua had a 10-rounder? A long time now. Jesus, it must be. It's been 2015. Was the Kevin Johnson fight a 10-rounder? It might have been. But it's been a while. So, yeah, that's my thoughts from the face-off. It was a good watch. I think both guys look very confident, Ngannou and Joshua. I didn't see anything to indicate otherwise. Some people were saying, Joshua looks rat. No, I don't think he does. I think he looks fine. I actually think he looks quite confident, to be honest with you. I do think that he's taken Ngannou serious, judging by some of the response to some of his questions. But, for the most part, I thought it was a good one. I really did. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. And for now, lads and lassies, I'll leave it there. Peace.